Question 8. Now, if I look at question 8, I can see, oh, this looks like transformations, chapter 11. So let me first take you back to the textbook and just refresh your memory a little bit. Okay. You will find this in part 2, the second textbook of grade 10-11 on page 612. Okay, let's just see. There it is. Okay, let's start. Now, the first question, say, on the grid, draw the image of triangle T after a reflection in the line x equals -1. Now, if it's x equals -1, it means it cut only the x-axis and it cut there at -1. Okay, so let's just quickly, I'm first going to just make it a bit bigger for you. Okay, there it is. I think I'm just going to, I draw it there. I just want to show you. So it cuts the x-axis. I'm just going to make it red. And it cuts there at -1. Okay. And what I must draw, it's t. So the original one, do you see? There was t. Now, instead of counting to the y-axis, I just count to this line. So I do exactly the same. I just count 1, 2, 1, 2 to this line. And then, okay, so which one? Okay, it's always good to mark your points. So this was the point, this. You can even call it A, B, C. Okay, so let's just do this one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then the same here. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I just draw and I call it, try after a reflection in the line. If they don't say the name, then usually what I do is I make it just like this. I'll show you. Okay, every time I make it so, then it's not coming. So it's a T and you make just that dash. And just make it bigger again. Okay, and you just make a dash. Okay, so the next one. Triangle T after a rotation through 180 about 0, 0. Now, can you remember what I usually do? Is I take a piece of paper and I just copy T and I copy the center and I copy the arrow facing north. And then 180, it's actually very easy. I turn it until that arrow is facing down. And then I take a sharp thing like a pen or a pencil and I just make the dots and I call it T. Okay. So after the reflection, I think that's actually bad that they don't call it. So I think if I call it AII, that will also work inside that. Okay, usually they tell me what to call it. And then they say, describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle T onto triangle U. So T onto triangle U. Let's just see which one was U. Okay. Oh, there is U. Do you see there? Now, if I look like this, there's T, there's U. It didn't reflect, it didn't rotate, it didn't become bigger. It's just without moving it, it just moved to the left, to and up. And I must just find that to the left and up. So take a point that's exactly the same. So if I'm taking a point, and I'm just going to first, I'm just taking. So let's take, for example, and again, red would just work better in this case. So let's just compare that 2 points. Or I think the best will be if I compare the sharp point here at the bottom. Okay, so in this case, just look, it's 1 unit per block, it's fine. So it's -2 because it's 1, 2. And then up, 1, 2, +2. So horizontal, so what will it be? It will be horizontal by the vector -2. You will see it in the textbook. And then up, it will be 2. And I just want to go quickly make sure because I don't know why it didn't come out nice now. So I'm just checking in my, yes, -2, 2. It's just not coming out nicely, but it's in the textbook. Okay, so let's just see. You will get a mark for translation and then you get a mark. You can get for the top and the bottom, the horizontal and the vertical. Remember, it's always like a T. It's the vertical on top and then the horizontal. And then describe the transformation which map T onto V. Okay. And then don't forget to take a ruler to find that center. So when I take a ruler, I'm just going to, now I'm again going to do that. I'm going to clean everything just that I can show you the marks. I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm just going to just go like that. Okay, that line's not so nice, but I'm struggling a little bit with my technology, but for you, you can. There I showed you that line. Do you see that one? Okay, and then where is that point? There's the point where all the lines intersect. So it's an enlargement. Now the scale factor, just count your blocks. So if you look on this, it's 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's the image divides the original. So 3 divide 1. So it's a scale factor of 3. And then the center is 0, 3. So that will. So 1, 4, describing the transformation. Then for the scale factor, and then for the center. That was just to refresh your memory. But otherwise, go to page 612 and a little bit previous pages and just go and revise that a little bit. Okay. So let's just go back to my sketch. Here I am, back at my sketch. There it is. Now they say, draw the image of triangle T after a translation by vector, that's right, and they say label it P. That's very good. Okay, so if I'm just going to say this is T, I cannot see if you see it now so clear here, but that's T. Okay, now it's -2. Always just check if it's one block, one unit, but that's nice. It's not always like that. Sometimes they can make 2 blocks, 1 unit, and the unit is the one that's telling you. You don't go according to the blocks, you go according to the units. So, but this one is nice. So if I look, I'm just going to start marking it's -2. Okay, so this one is going to go, take a point. Let's just take this point. And I go 1, 2, so it's -2, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I do it with this point, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just want to show you with this one. Then I take this point, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and there it must be the dot. And then I take my ruler and I just draw that line and I label it. Don't forget to label it P. Okay. Okay. Then draw the image. So how will they give you the marks here? I think they say on the memo, I can just read it to you. Correct image drawn with vertices. B1, if say, for example, you move the -2, the horizontal, but the vertical is incorrect. Or the vertical is correct and the horizontal is incorrect. Okay, but you will get 2 marks there if it's 100% correct. Then draw the image of triangle T after a reflection in the line L. Now, very nice, they gave you the line. But let's just for practice, what is this line? It cuts the x-axis and it cuts it 1, so it's the line x equals 1. So where it cuts, then it's x. If it cuts the y, then it's y equals. Okay. Now, they say it's a reflection in this line. So again, I'm just going to count to this line, not to the y-axis. So if I start there, then it's 1, 2, because what was it? It was, it's 2, and then to this side, 1, 2. Okay. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to which one? This one still. There. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, and there 4. And again, take your ruler and just draw that lines. And let's just go back there. Okay, and then you label it R. Okay, then describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle T onto Q. Now, can you remember what I said? Take a ruler, because it's T and Q. You can see it's an enlargement. Okay, but now we must just find that. So take the same points. Okay, we can already see the scale factor. Look here, it's 2, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided 2, so the scale factor is 3. Okay, but now I take my ruler, I put it on that point, and I just take and I just extend it. And then I take it on that same vertices, and I just extend it. And on that same vertices, and I just extend it. Okay, and then there where I see, and sometimes if you see it's not 100% on one of the crosses, then just make sure that you were drawing 100% correct, because it shall not be in the middle of the block. It will be one of this where the two lines intersect. Okay, but what is just for the, what is this coordinate? Can you see here? I'm going to write it here. It's -6 and it's -5. First the x, then the y. Do you see? Now I start, and it's very, very important that it's 3 marks. So you must write 3 things. The 1 mark, I say it's an enlargement. Then the next mark, it's a scale factor is 3. And the next mark, and the center of enlargement, and that is going to be -6 and -5. And you will get for every enlargement, scale factor, center. So please make sure it's 3 score marks. Make sure you can do that. Not so difficult. Let's go to the next question. And again, algebra. So that's why I say know your algebra. It's the core of mathematics for me. Okay, because from there you build on. Okay, so let's start. I just look at it and I see it's algebra. Now, it's very good if you look at it and you say, is it an expression or is it an equation? Now, if I see, is it an expression or an equation? I say, oh, there's no equal sign. So it's definitely a what? It's an expression. And if it's an expression, I know it's chapter 3 in the y equals. It's not important that you know that. Just know it's algebra expression. Okay, so let's rather just say algebra. Okay, and I just know it's simplified. So I just know I must just multiply out that brackets. Can you see there? I'm just going to multiply it out. And then I'm just going to collect my like terms. That's all. It's a bit difficult due to that negative. Do you see that negative there? And there's a square. But take it slowly and take it step by step. I just quickly want to take you to the textbook. Okay, so in the textbook, I'm on page, and I just want to make it bigger, 93, and it's in algebra. And let me just get not too big. Okay. And I'm at polynomials, chapter 3. And I want you to take you to this example 5. Now, this is where there's a number or a variable in front as well as the bracket. Now, in the example of the question paper, it's just the same bracket, but it's also 2 brackets. Now, there's 2 methods to do that. But I want you to focus, because of that negative in front, which you will see, I want you to focus on method 1. Okay, because that's the one I'm going to use there. So basically what I do is I just rewrite that D. Do you see? So I'm just rewriting that D. And then I first multiply the brackets out. And then I multiply the D in. And then I will add or subtract my like terms. So then I will go and say, okay, that 2, they are like. And that's why I subtract them. And that's the answer that I get. Okay. So I want you to take you to that one. And then there's another thing that I want to take you, the second one, and I hope it's going to be nice now, again. Because it's of the double bracket, I want you to also focus on this method. Because sometimes with the double bracket, I prefer, and I just want to again to just show you first the page. This is on page 92. And this is also chapter 3. I'm still busy there in chapter 3. This is the short. That's the long method because we're going to, and then the short method. Can I just show you? the long method, and you can do either one. So you must 2 times write out that bracket. Please never square. That's incorrect. There's 2 terms in. Okay, you can only do it when there's 1 term. And then you multiply, and you add your like terms. That's the long method. I want to also show you the short method, because sometimes it's almost like if I show the short method, people don't leave out the middle term. So I square the first one, so it's b squared. Then I multiply the 2 terms with each other, so it's negative 3b, okay? And then I multiply it by 2, so it's negative 6b. And then I square the last term, negative 3 times negative 3, and it's positive 9, and it's exactly the same. Okay, let's go back to the question paper. Okay, so we're going to start again. I'm going to make it a bit bigger that you see better. Okay. Now, as I said, rather write 2 or 3 extra steps and make sure that you don't make mistakes. So I'm going to focus on working here, but I will first go and I will rewrite everything until I get there. So I will start and I will say 3t minus 5. Now, I don't like the negative 3. Do you see there? So what I can do, I can first say it's negative, and I can put a bracket there. I can even put it there, but I'm going to prefer putting it now there. Okay. Now, you can either go and say, okay, I know it's 2 brackets, so it's 2t minus 3, and it repeats, 2t minus 3, and I close. So, do you see, I didn't do a lot, because now I'm going to focus here on this double bracket. Now, as I said, you can do it on the side. You can just multiply it out now. So I'm going to do it, and then I can just check. So I rewrite again everything to keep my order the same. Leave the 3 as I showed you that method 1. Now I'm going to say 2t times 2t, that's 4t squared. This one times this one, it's negative 6t. This one times this one is negative 6t. This one times this one is positive 9. Do you see? Okay, I didn't do the short method. I'll show you now the short method. If I did that, okay, no, I don't think I'm going to. The short method would have just been 4t squared. That would have been negative, if you multiply 6t times 2, it's negative 12t plus 9, which I will get at the end. I just showed you. Okay, now I'm just going to rewrite again. As I said, rather put an extra step in, but don't make mistakes. Now, what you can do, I can first now, leave first the negative. Say 3 times 4, that is 12. I could have first add the like terms, but I decided now not to do that. So I'm just going to say now 3 times 6. So that is going to be negative 18t. Okay, 3 times 6, negative 18t. If I add negative 12, and I would have already get 36 there, but it's fine. 3 times 9, I get 27. And now I'm just going to bring, do you see that red robot? That's going to change all that signs inside. Okay, so let's start. I again write 3t minus 5, and now I just multiply that negative in. A negative times a negative, positive 18t. Negative times negative, positive 18t. Negative times positive, negative 27. Okay, and now my like terms. So let's see my like terms. Do you see? It's only that, and there's another. I see another. This and this. Okay, so I start rewriting. So it's 3t, and this is going to be negative. Oh, okay, no. I made a mistake. Sorry. Can you see there's another like term? Maybe you saw that. Okay, so I skipped this one. So this one is now the same as the 18ths. Okay, so this is 36. Okay, I prefer starting with the square. So grab that sign. It's negative 12t squared. That's 36 plus 3. So it's going to be 39t. And then negative 27, negative 5. And that's going to be negative 32. Okay. And that's going to be my final answer. So that's going to be negative 12t squared plus 39t minus 32. Okay. And now if you look at the marks of question 9, so if you came to this step, okay, I think they would have gave you 2 marks if you come to, and then for your final answer, you would have get a mark. So it's very good rather to put an extra step in and to make sure that you get 3 out of 3. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, that is question number 10. Okay, so in the next question is question 10. Now, question 10a, I'm not even going to take you to the textbook because it's simply just pressing on your calculator. Can I just say this? Just make sure on your calculator in grade 11, it must be on degrees. It must be D. Now, I have a very simple calculator, a Casio FX82MS. I think I already have it for 20 years, but it's still working 100%. So just make sure there must be a small d. Otherwise, on my calculator, I press mode. I press it 2 times, and then I press 1, and then it's on degrees. Okay. So find the value. So basically, I'm just pressing on my calculator, and I just press cos, okay, 123 minus sin 223 equals. And remember, they are saying to 3 decimal places, and I get 0.137. On my calculator, I didn't press it again, so I'm going to press it again. Cos 123 minus sin 223 equals. My calculator was saying 0.13735. So it was that 5. Oh, this 3, because it's 1, 2, 3. So the fourth one was 3, and that's why it stayed a 7. Okay. So that is very, very simple and easy. Okay. Let's look at number B. Solve for sin x equals negative 2.5 and x is bigger or equal to 0 and smaller and equal to 360. This is trig equations. Now I'm first going to take you also to the textbook. You will find this in book 2, the second book, page 462, and I'm going to explain to you example 22, a few, just at least A and B. Can I just say to you that because they just do a little bit of this in this level, sometimes the students struggle to understand it. As soon as we go to AS level, we will go very, very deep into this trigonometry, and then sometimes it's easier for learners to understand it. Okay, but still, it's very basic on this level. So let's look at the first example. Now, it's a trig equation, and we're going to solve that. Now, the problem is, if you press this on your calculator, you will just get one value. And there is 2 values. Why? And I think I showed you also in this. If you think of the sin graph, and I'm just going to show you every time, the sin graph. Okay, here is, let's just get my pen correct. Just going to do it here. Okay, and as I said, I'm just going to show you very roughly the sin. But the sin graph, it's just like graphs. It's looking like this. Oh, my graph is not very long enough. Okay, it's according to my sketch. So, say for example, this is then 360. Then the maximum there is 1 and the minimum there is negative. It's just a very rough sketch. Now, sin 0.5. So if I come 0.5, so in the middle, you can see it intersects there 2 times. So if you press on the calculator, you will just get one of the values and not both. And that is the reason why it's actually there, that we do it on this method. So what we do, is we look at it and we focus on the sign. Now, according to I explained to you in the previous pages, we determine the cost diagram. Now, the cost show you where is the functions positive. There is all, okay, positive, there is all. There is sin positive, tan positive, cos positive. So where is sin positive? It's at the all and at the sin. There it's negative. Okay, so I go and I just draw where it's positive. If it was negative, I would have do the opposite 2 quadrants. Now, I just go and I press on my calculator to get that reference angle. So I press Shift, sin 0.5 equals. Make sure your calculator is on degrees, and I get 30. That means that is 30 and that is 30. But graphs works like this. There is 0, there is 90, there is 180, there is 270. Okay, so if I go and I must just find this one, that's easy, that's just 30. But if I want to find this one, it's 180 minus 30, and that's 150. So meaning on this sketch, the one that I see here was 30, and the one I see here was 150. And you can see, because there is 180, it makes sense. Okay, let's just look at another one, then it's fine. And then I'll take you just to 1 or 2 things still. Now, if we look at cos, and I want to show you the negative, because that negative is important. Now, again, I'm just going to show you the graph. And this is, as I said, we go very, very deep into AS level, into graphs. But for now, just the basics is fine. Okay, so the cos graph looks like, oh, my pen is not correct. It's a curve. Still not correct. Come on. Okay, whereby this will say again be 360. The maximum is 1, the minimum is again -1. That's the graph. Again, if you press it on the calculator, you get 1. But if I look at -0.8, say, for example, there it's -0. You see that it cuts how many times? It cuts 2 times, and that's the values that I want. Okay, so how do I do it? Again, I draw my cos diagram. But this time I say, where is cos negative? So I just use that negative to draw the graph. Now, if I know that cos is positive here, then the opposite two will be negative. Then again, I find my reference angle. Now, very, very, very important. Don't press that negative in. Okay, then you will only get one answer. Just press on your calculator, Shift cos 0.8 without the negative equal. And you get now 36.87. I make it to 2 decimal because my final must be 1 decimal. So meaning this is 38.87. This is 38.87. And now again, remember, I want this angle and I want this angle. Do you see that? So meaning, again, don't forget this is 0, this is 90, this is 180, this is, okay, we don't work with 270. So if I want to find this angle, it's 180 minus 38.87. And if I find this angle, 180 plus 38.87. And don't forget what the question paper said in front, 1 angles, 1 decimal place. And that's how I do that. Okay, I just want to take you still to a little bit more complicated, just showing you a little bit more complicated examples. Let's just see, that was number 10B. Okay, can I just show you here? I just want to, because it can be that they ask this, but they don't want you to find the angle. They want the ratio. Then I do the same. Okay, first I draw, where is cos negative? Okay, so cos is negative here and here. I have 2 sides. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. And I can find the other side with Pythagoras theorem. But instead of finding the angle then I just keep the ratio. So if I ask you to work out sin, then sin is opposite over hypotenuse. And I just write it there down. Okay, the reason why I'm showing you this is I want you actually just to take you to this equation, which was a bit more complicated, because that's going to help us. Page 461, number 5. I'm not going to do it. I just want to show you how to simplify, or to make tan theta the subject of the formula. So in this case, it was 15 tan theta minus 8 equals 0. So it's 15 tan theta is equal to 8. Okay, so I take the 8 over. I'm isolating tan theta, and then I divide 15 and I divide 15, and I get tan theta is equal to 8 over 15. And now I can start doing exactly. I just wanted to show you that step. Okay. So, with the knowledge of the textbook now, book 2, I'm going to start with this question, B. So, I'm just going to first get sin x alone on a side. I'm simplifying that equation in the sense of that I get all the numbers on one side and only sin x on this side. And don't forget it's a negative. Okay. And then I follow, they want the angle. So they say solve. So they want the angle. So now I'm going to just do my cast diagram. Okay, there is my cast diagram. Okay, don't forget, cast. Always start with the C there. Now, where is sin negative? Sin is positive in A and S, but sin is negative here. Just want to get a pencil. There is sin. Okay. Now, I'm first going to get my reference angle. Now, how do I do that? I do not press that negative in, as I said to you. So, otherwise you just get one angle. So, press Shift, sin, bracket. I like to put a bracket there. 2.5 divide 4, close the bracket, equals. Okay, again, 2 decimal places. So, I get 38.68 degrees, meaning 38.68, 38.68. Okay, and I'm looking for the angle. Now, what do I look for? I look from here to there. Remember, that's 180. So that will be 180 plus 38.68. And I calculate that, and I'm getting on my calculator 1 decimal place, 0.7 degree. And I can already fill this one in. And then the next one, I get, it's from there to there. And that will be 360, because 360, 0, it stops at 360 again, minus that 38.68, okay? And that is going to be 321.3 degrees. So 321.3 degrees. And that's how you do it. Now, here they give actually 2 marks if your answer is correct, and 1 if you simplified that correctly. Okay, that's really not so difficult. They ask it very basic on this level. Then comes to the last of this page question. So let's just look at this one. They say a triangle, they give you 2 sides, they give you an angle, and they ask you the area. Okay, there's not a 90-degree angle, so it's not half base times height. Again, I'm taking you to the textbook, and it's question 10C. It's this page. Let's see what is the page that's going to help you a little bit. So page 464, and this is again in book 2, so part 2. And then I'm just going to show you this last question. Now, the formula is very simple. Now, if you did the cosine and you did the sine, and you come to this one, then if I must say, I always say to students like this or learners like this, the information is like the cosine in the sense of 2 sides with an included angle, but don't forget, you use sin in that. So it's very easy. It's just a half. Then it's the 2 sides, sin of the angle. And you just press it on your calculator. Very easy. So let's go back and we finish off that question with that knowledge. We just go and we see if we can finish that. So let's just say the area of triangle ABC is equal to a half, and it's 15, and it's 31. The two sides, do you see that? And it's not cos, it's sin of 40. The information is like the cosine. Okay, so I just press everything on my calculator. So 0.5, 1 divided 2 times 15 times 31 times sin 40, and I get 149.44 but I remember 3 significant figures. That's what the question paper said in front, and that will be my answer. Again, you will get 1 for putting in everything correctly in the formula, and then for your final answer.